Although Masters of the Air Episode 3 depicts several brutal deaths during the 100th Bombardment Group's Regensburg mission, one deadly scene in particular has an unlikely connection with another lesser-known Steven Spielberg television episode. While Steven Spielberg is best known for his iconic movies like Jaws and his World War II content such as Masters of the Air, he has also worked on smaller projects, such as his anthology television series, Amazing Stories. Episode 5, The Mission, came out in 1985 but is seemingly still significant to the iconic director, as it parallels 2024's Masters of the Air. For context, Masters of the Air Episode 3 follows the unlucky 100th Bomb Group as they embark on the real-life Regensburg mission. On this flight, the men are supposed to fly deep into enemy territory to drop bombs on a German ball-bearing factory in Regensburg before traveling all the way to Algeria to land. However, the mission immediately goes awry when weather conditions cut their forces in half, and later, German planes leave the 100th badly damaged. Ultimately, the episode sees tragic deaths for many members of the 100th, including a ball turret gunner affectionately nicknamed Babyface. Despite the fact that Masters of the Air is based on real men who served in the 100th Bombardment Group, there is no denying the strong connection between Masters of the Air's Babyface and Steven Spielberg's The Mission from Amazing Stories. The mission follows a ball turret gunner who becomes trapped in the gunner compartment of his B-17 and must use creative methods to try and get out alive. This is strikingly similar to Babyface's predicament, wherein Sergeant William Quinn is unable to save him from his gunner compartment as their B-17 plummets, leading to his tragic death. It is quite interesting that Spielberg has now explored the same unique situation of a turret gunner being stuck in his compartment in two of his projects, Amazing Stories and Masters of the Air. While it makes sense for Amazing Stories considering the show's title, the inclusion of it in Masters of the Air is very coincidental. It feels like an unusually niche reference to Spielberg that is easy to overlook but, once acknowledged, is cool and exciting. The only issue with the connection is the massive difference that occurs between the two stories' endings. Although Amazing Stories and Masters of the Air share a distinct situation concerning turret gunners, the stories notably veer away from each other when it comes to their endings. While the turret gunner in the mission is able to miraculously survive his plane crash, Babyface is not so lucky. After Quinn leaves him in order to save his own life, Babyface is the last soldier left on the plane and the only person who can get himself out. Sadly, his time runs out fairly quickly as the B-17 explodes in midair just as Quinn leaps out. Considering that Steven Spielberg has portrayed the lethal woes of turret gunners twice now, it would make sense that his stories have some truth to them. It turns out being a ball turret gunner was one of the most dangerous positions in a B-17. The gunners were cramped in tiny spaces that were vulnerable to attack. According to War History Online, the ball turret compartment was so small that soldiers couldn't even bring parachutes in with them. Therefore, when their plane crashed, they had to spend extra time escaping the hatch and strapping themselves into a parachute before jumping. In this way, it is no surprise that Steven Spielberg has focused on the ball turret gunner twice in his career. The ball turret gunner held an important yet lethal job in World War II, and therefore, he often has a riveting story to tell. Furthermore, the way Masters of Air depicts Babyface's end makes more sense. Although the mission sketches out a happy ending for its gunner, Babyface's fate was more realistic, despite its heightened sense of terror.